Full time in Clonus, and it is Donegal who booked themselves into yet another Ulster Senior Football Championship final. They win out by a scoreline of 216 to 16 points. It's their fourth Ulster final now in 5 seasons, and of course looking to win their first Ulster title since 2019, and in the process have avenged that 2020 final loss by beating Cavan by 6 points in the end. Look, fair play to Cavan. Look, they gave a very, very good game. I feel like on another day with a little bit more luck, they might have won this game. I think they should have got a penalty very early on in this game. I thought it was a blatant penalty, a blatant foul from Hugh McFadden. Clearly brings his man down, make no mistake about that. You had that James Smith chance, which was brilliantly saved by Sean Patton, turned onto the bar. You know, it's fine margins sometimes in sport, a thin line between success and failure. And you know, those 2 goals from Donegal, very fortuitous. I can't remember, which players were actually going for the scores. I think Jamie Brennan was one of them, but both of them end up dropping short. You know, you've 3 Cavan men going for the 1 ball for the first goal. Maybe Raymond Gallagher needs to give his defence a shout there and say he can either catch it, or maybe he comes out and goes for the punch. He obviously does come out and go for the punch and gets a bit of contact, but obviously he's got 2 Cavan men around him at the same time, 3 players going for the 1 ball. Conor O'Donnell's in the right place at the right time to turn it in. And the second goal was very similar. Again, it was a long ball in, which should have been caught from the Cavan defender, but it breaks to Paddy McBrearty. Obviously a difficult ball to catch, to be fair, but it breaks to Paddy McBrearty, who puts the nail in the Cavan coffin. And Donegal booked themselves through 216 to 16 points in the end is how it finished. Cavan in the first half started the brighter, and actually Donegal didn't lead in this game until the 38th minute, which shows just how well Cavan had done in the first half. And look, you know, for myself personally, I've never doubted the ability of this Cavan team in terms of the players that they have in Thomas Gallagher, who's an absolute warrior, took so many big hits at times today, was brilliant in around the middle. Paddy Lynch, superb. Some of the points he was kicking in the first half were unbelievable. James Smith was very impressive. Grohl McKernan took a while to get into the game, but once he did in the second half, you've seen his physical presence. I think the problem I've had with Cavan, and I think a lot of people, even Cavan fans, will tell you this themselves, is they haven't always been consistent against the weaker teams, and you've seen that throughout. You know, that's the reason why they were in Division 4 this year. And, you know, I was watching the coverage on BBC and they were saying, you know, it's kind of crazy that Cavan are going into the Tailteann Cup. But look, you know, if you make your bed, you lie in it. And Cavan shouldn't be a Division 4 team. They shouldn't have been in Division 4 this year. You know, if Cavan were in Division 2 this year, I think they would have finished mid-table. There's a lot of teams I think that Cavan are better than that will be in the qualifiers. You know, I think they're a better team than Cork. I think they're better than Meath. I think they're maybe slightly, you know, them and Clare I think could go either way. But that's just how it is. Cavan haven't done it consistently enough against the weaker sides. And whilst they have put in a big performance like this against Donegal, if you're a Cavan fan, I'd be more thinking, why haven't we done that, you know, last year in Division 3? How did we get beat by Wicklow? You know, how did we obviously get beat by Fermanagh as well? You know, that's the kind of frustrating thing from a Cavan perspective. But look, you can't doubt their ability and how well they played in the first half. You know, 9 points apiece at half time, but probably should have been more in front, realistically speaking. Donegal clearly in the first half were probably a little bamboozled maybe by how well Cavan were playing. I think it definitely caught them a little bit by surprise. I don't think they necessarily underestimated Cavan because, you know, Donegal were beaten by Cavan just 2 years ago. If anyone knows about this Cavan side, it's certainly Donegal. They've had their fair share of meetings with this Cavan side in the last couple of years. So I don't think they underestimated Cavan, but they were just a little bit caught, a little bit napping at times. Their flow of passing wasn't quite there. A few misses here and there, a few sloppy passes. It carried into the second half at times. Cavan maybe didn't punish Donegal for their errors, and there was different times as well, even in the first half, where I thought Donegal opened up Cavan's defence and could have created goal opportunities, but didn't take those opportunities in the end. You know, and interesting enough, obviously, you've seen Cavan press up on the Donegal kick-out, but Donegal's still able to get the kick-out on multiple occasions from Sean Patton. Kicked some brilliant kicks at different times. One in particular towards the end of the second half when Donegal ended up hitting the bar. Should have had a third goal in the end. But I think I'm glad they didn't, because if they had finished, ended up winning this by 9 or 10 points, it would have been a bit of an injustice, really, to how well Cavan played. But yeah, the key turning point, as you said, fairly even, really, up until the 60th minute. Neither, Cavan, they drew back level. There was only 1 or 2 points in it. It was a very, very close game. But that sort of balloon shot, really, that ends up being cleared by Gallagher. 3 Cavan players going for the one ball. Conor O'Donnell puts it into the back of the net. And Donegal, from the 61st minute right up until the 74th minute, outscoring Cavan 2-2 to 2 points, and those 2 goals proving to be the difference in the end. And as I said at the start, should Cavan have got a penalty in the opening couple of minutes from that challenge from Hugh McFadden? Be very curious to hear your opinions in the comments down below. Certainly looked like a stonewall penalty, in my opinion. And obviously that big James Smith chance, which was well saved by Sean Patton. Obviously Smith going for power with that effort. Could he have ran a little bit closer to goal? Could he have tried to place it a little bit better? I'm not sure, but it is fine margins in Gaelic football at times, and that was the big difference. GAA lad says, well done to Cavan. They really held off Donegal for a long time. And yeah, look, we know the ability of Cavan. We know some of the players that they have. But for me, the biggest, obviously the Tailteann Cup will be, Cavan will be the favourites for that tournament. Whether, the question with Cavan is, can they, will they be as consistent? Will they perform like this in the Tailteann Cup? Because sometimes in Division 4, they didn't look impressive. They were scraping wins against London. Although they, won Division 4 in the end, they just narrowly got past Tipperary. Like they have had at times. They're definitely more of a championship team than a National League team. That makes no mistake. There's no question about that. But can they keep those, can they give this level of a performance in the Tailteann Cup? Is the Tailteann Cup going to be of importance to them? I'm not sure. I think it should be, because I think there's a day out in Croke Park. I think they are, for me, pound for pound, the best team in that tournament. And if they play with that sort of, heart, if they work as hard as they did in this game, they should be winning that. They should be. But the question will be, will they do that? And looking at Division 3 football next year for Cavan, that's for me the big objective for them, is to get out of Division 3, back into Division 2. At least if you have these games, then you go into the qualifiers. Because as I said, if Cavan were in the qualifiers, there's, I think they're going to be better. I think they're better than Meath. I think they're better than Cork. I think they're, slightly better than Louth as well. So, I think Cavan are better than a lot of teams that are in those qualifiers. But, because of how inconsistent they've been in the National Football League, that's the reason being. And as I said, you make your bed, you lie in it. And for Cavan, that will be of big disappointment. But I think this should be of note to Mickey Graham to really rally those troops and get out of Division 3 next year, because they certainly do have the quality to do so. But yeah, big win for Donegal. Weren't at their brilliant best. A few sloppy passes here and there. Certainly do have another gear to go up on. But the most impressive thing about Donegal is, they don't always have to be at their best to win games. They're brilliant at killing games, brilliant at closing games out. And when they went 4 points clear, you felt like it was just going to be very, very tough from a Donegal perspective. Just looking at some of the scores on the day from Donegal: Jamie Brennan with 4 points, Michael Murphy with 5, McBurty with 1-4, Thompson with a point, Mogan with a point as well. McGonigal got on the score sheet, and Conor O'Donnell got himself a goal from the bench. Paddy Lynch with 6 points for Cavan, Grove McKiernan with 3, James Smith with 3 points, Jared Smith with a point in there as well, and Raymond Gallagher getting on the score sheet from a Cavan perspective. I thought Michael Murphy was my man of the match personally, 5 points. I thought he had a very, very good game. You had that, that replay or that challenge from Paddy Lynch where he just runs straight into Michael Murphy, and it's like he ran into a steam train. He got absolutely flattened, and it was just you were wishing the best for Paddy Lynch after that, but he just ran straight into a brick wall. And just seeing Michael Murphy get man of the match there on BBC as well. So yeah, he would have been my man of the match personally. I thought he was he was brilliant in the game, and 5 points in total, and just picking up the ball in different pockets of space, setting things up. He was excellent, wasn't he? But Donegal still the slight favourites for me going into that Ulster final, regardless of who it's against. Few issues there defensively, especially in the first half. They were kind of opened up on a couple of occasions against a better team, against a Derry or a Monaghan. Maybe they would punish Donegal, but I would still expect Donegal to come through this Ulster Championship and win that Ulster title. Certainly a lot of question marks still remain of Donegal, but they do deliver. They get the victory and they march on into that Ulster final. So, I'd be curious to know some of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Let me know, how do you think Donegal will get on going into that Ulster final against either Derry or Monaghan? The thing is with Donegal, they don't always put teams away, though. They don't always sort of put their foot on the gas. And that could be, if... I feel like at Derry, having seen how Cavan have played against Donegal, I think Derry will set up very similarly. And I think if Derry can get through Monaghan, I do think they have a serious chance of beating this Donegal team. I really, really do. But yeah, be curious to hear your opinions, thoughts in the comments down below. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, share this out to your friends and family. Helps the channel grow, and very much appreciate all the recent subscribers, comments, likes, all the rest. Very much appreciated. So, we'll wrap this up here. My name's Aaron, and I'll see you all in the next one.